Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Monday, April 10th, 2023, and I am here to go over the 8-game slate in MLB tonight. If you are new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, you can join us at DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. That's at DFS Coach Talk. Send us a DM. Let us know you're interested in the MLB special, and we will get you in for the rest of the month of April for just $19. So with that being said, we have an 8-game slate to get into. So let's go ahead and get right into that. Starting at the 7:10 p.m. Eastern start time with the San Diego Padres taking on the Mets. We have Yu Darvish against Max Scherzer. The Mets are minus 135 on the money line. It has an over-under of 7.5 runs. Temperatures is 53 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing right to left. We have a projected lineup for the Padres: Trent Grisham, Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, Matt Carpenter, Austin Nola, Ha-Seong Kim, and Rougned Odor. And then for the Mets, you have Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Francisco Alvarez, Tommy Pham, Jeff McNeil, Eduardo Escobar, and Mark Canha. Next game is at 7:20 p.m. Eastern. The Cincinnati Reds taking on the Atlanta Braves. Graham Ashcraft for the Reds and Bryce Elder for the Braves. We have Atlanta at minus 190 on the money line. Has an over-under of 8.5 runs. 62 degrees, wind blowing in at 9 miles an hour. Confirmed lineups we have for the Reds: Jonathan India, TJ Friedl, Jake Fraley, Tyler Stevenson, Will Myers, Jason Vossler, Spencer Steer, Will Benson, and Jose Barrero. For the Braves, we have Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Sean Murphy, Ozzie Albies, Eddie Rosario, Orlando Arcia, Kevin Pillar, and Eli White. Go ahead and take a look at the chat, see how everybody's doing this afternoon. Sorry. We need a win. Yeah, we've been winning. Over the weekend, especially, we had several wins, so hope you were able to take part in that. I do want to say on Saturday, we were supposed to have a 5-sport podcast with Coach, and he was feeling under the weather that morning, woke up feeling sick. And so if anybody came in here on Saturday expecting that podcast, I apologize. That was going to be, all 5 major sports were participating in that one day. So we were looking to do that. But, I'm sure sometime in the future we'll have that 5-sport podcast. I know Coach was really looking forward to that, but was feeling sick, so wasn't able to make it. So apologize for that. All right, so where were we at? Seattle Mariners at 7:40 p.m. Eastern taking on the Chicago Cubs. Luis Castillo against Drew Smyly. Seattle's minus 150 on the money line, over under of 8.5 runs. It's 54 degrees. The wind is blowing out at 9 miles an hour. We have a projected lineup for the Mariners: Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, Eugenio Suarez, Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Riley, AJ Pollock, Sam Haggerty, Cooper Hummel, and JP Crawford. For the Cubs, Nico Herner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, Patrick Wisdom, Edwin Rios, and Tucker Barnhart. Then we have at 8:05 p.m. Eastern, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Texas Rangers. Zach Greinke against Andrew Heaney. Texas is minus 175. Over under of 9 runs. They're in a dome, so there's no weather to worry about. We have for the projected lineup for the Royals: MJ Melendez, Bobby Witt, Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, Edward Olivares, Hunter Dozier, Franmil Reyes, Nate Eaton, and Michael Massey. For the Rangers, their projected lineup: Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Nate Lowe, Dolis Garcia, Josh Young, Robbie Grossman, Jonah Heim, Brad Miller, and Josh Smith. Then we have at 8:40 p.m. Eastern, this will be a key game for me, St. Louis Cardinals in Colorado at Coors Field taking on the Rockies. Steven Matz against Yerman Marquez. St. Louis is minus 145 favorite. Over under of 11.5 implied runs. 75 degrees, wind blowing right to left at 7 miles an hour. Projected lineup, we have Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Tyler O'Neill, Nolan Gorman, Jordan Walker, Tommy Edman. For the Rockies, Jonathan Daza, Chris Bryant, Charlie Blackmon, CJ Cron, Elias Diaz, Jurickson Profar, I always have a hard time with this name, Eleuteris Montero, Alan Trejo, Ezekiel Tovar, and that's it. All right, next game at Washington at LA, the Angels at 9:38 p.m. Eastern. Patrick Corbin taking on Jose Suarez. Angels are minus 250, over under of 10 runs, 69 degrees, wind blowing out at 8 miles an hour. For the Nationals, their projected lineup is Lane Thomas, Joey Meneses, Heimer Candelario, Dominic Smith, Keibert Ruiz, Alex Call, Luis Garcia, Victor Robles, and CJ Abrams. And then for the Angels, their projected lineup, Taylor Ward, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, Hunter Renfroe, Brandon Drury, Gio Urshela, Logan O'Hoppe, and Luis Rengifo. 9:40 p.m. Eastern, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wade Miley against Zach Gallen. Arizona is minus 140 on the money line. It's a 9 implied run total, and it's indoors. We have for the Brewers, their projected lineup, Christian Yelich, Jesse Winker, Willie Adames, Rowdy Tellez, William Contreras, Garrett Mitchell, Brian Anderson, Bryce Terang, and Joey Weimer. For the Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel, Christian Walker, Evan Longoria, Corbin Carroll, Josh Rojas, Nick Ahmed, Gabe Moreno, and Jake McCarthy. Last game of the night at 9:45 p.m. Eastern, the Los Angeles Dodgers in San Francisco taking on the Giants. Julio Urias against Logan Webb. Dodgers are minus 150 as a 7 implied run total. Wind is blowing out at 18 miles an hour, but they have that crazy wind. So an 18-mile-an-hour wind blowing out would usually be a big bump to the bats. But in San Francisco, the wind blows all over the place. So you just have no idea where it's going to go. So you have, with the way the stadium's designed, that's the reason why. And they have, trying to remember what they call it, but they have a, what's it called? Like a vortex type thing that basically controls the wind. It's pretty crazy. So you've got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, JD Martinez, David Peralta, Miguel Vargas, James Outman, Miguel Rojas for the Dodgers, their projected lineup. And then for the Giants, Tyro Estrada, Wilmer Flores, Michael Conforto, JD Davis, David VR, Brandon Crawford, Austin Wynns, Heliot Ramos, and Bryce Johnson. All right, so that is it as far as the overview of the games goes. Before we get into the pitchers and BVP, home run calls, all that, let's take a look at the chat. Diablo wind, devil wind, I guess. I don't know. All right, so we have for the pay-up pitchers, Luis Castillo, 9,600 on DraftKings, 10.5 on Fanduel, $51 on Yahoo. He's pitched 2 games so far this year. He hasn't allowed a run in either start. First start of the year on opening day was against Cleveland. He pitched 6 innings with 6 strikeouts for 40 fantasy points. His last start on Tuesday was against the Angels. He pitched 5 2/3 innings with 6 strikeouts for 41 fantasy points. The last time he faced the Cubs was on June 28th last year. He pitched 6 innings with 11 strikeouts for 61 fantasy points. So could be a big game from Castillo tonight. I know the Cubs have improved their lineup quite a bit, but I still think it's a pretty good lineup for Castillo to face. A lot of bats that he's familiar with from his time with the Reds and the Mariners. So I think he'll still do really, really well. All right, next pitcher value is the value option. Not really anybody else I like for the pay-up options, honestly. Value pitcher, we have Bryce Elder. He's 6,600 on DraftKings, 8,300 on Fanduel, $41 on Yahoo. He faced the Cardinals in St. Louis on Wednesday. He pitched 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts for 46 fantasy points. Going up against the Reds, they're really tough in the Great American Small Park, but on the road, they've been a different team. Last year, they scored the 4th fewest runs per game on the road. And on the road in Atlanta against the Braves team that got embarrassed on national TV last night, I think the Braves are in a really good spot. So I don't think Elder will have much trouble. And then my fade pitcher is Max Scherzer. Tough matchup against the Padres. They just took 3 out of 4 in Atlanta. He struggled in his last game against the Brewers. He allowed 5 runs in 5 2/3 innings with only 2 strikeouts. So, yeah, I think Scherzer's in a really tough spot against that Padres lineup, which is really tough. They've added Xander Bogaerts, and now they're getting contributions from Nelson Cruz, which takes me into my BVP play of the day. Nelson Cruz, 4,200 on DraftKings, 2,400 on FanDuel only. And for some reason, as I last checked, he's not on Yahoo at all. So we'll have to see if they add him. But as of 3:15 p.m. Eastern, he is not on Yahoo. So it's really weird. So he has hit 412 against Max Scherzer, 14 hits and 34 at-bats, 8 singles, 3 doubles, and 3 home runs. So Nelson Cruz is my BVP play. As far as stacks go, I like the game stack with the Rockies and the Cardinals. Probably be super chalky, but I think it's good chalk. We've had some bad teams playing in Coors. I think this is a good matchup. Should have a lot of runs. It should be a really high-scoring game. A lot of fantasy points to come out of this game. The other stack I like is the Angels against Patrick Corbin. I know he bounced back a little bit in that last start, but not too much. He still struggled a little bit with I think it was the Braves that he was playing, and I think in LA with the warm temperatures and everything, I think that LA will get to him quite a bit. I have a lot of righties that are good against lefties. Mike Trout, Hunter Renfroe, Brandon Drury, Gio Urshela. Of course, Ohtani can hit anybody. So the Angels, good stack. Home run call is going to be Paul Goldschmidt. He's hit 425 against Erman Marquez, 17 hits and 40 at-bats, 9 singles, 4 doubles, and 4 home runs. So Paul Goldschmidt's my home run call. He struggled this year after winning the National League MVP last year. He's gotten off to a slow start. He's only hit 1 home run, but I think he'll pick it up, and I think it starts tonight. My prize picks plays of the day are going to be Luis Castillo, more than 39.5 fantasy score, going up against the Cubs. And then my other play is Paul Goldschmidt, more than 9.5 fantasy score. Like I said, I think he hits a home run tonight, so he will be my other prize picks play. Check the chat, and then we'll get out of here. All right, I don't see any more questions, so I hope everybody has a great Monday. The NBA is off tonight as they get ready for the play-in tournament starting tomorrow, so that'll be exciting. I'm sure Coach and Deb will have some exciting takes on that. I think maybe Deb is doing the podcast, but Coach will probably have some bonus lineups and stuff for you guys. So definitely look forward to that. Let's absolutely crush it tonight in MLB. And Deb will be back tomorrow as we look to crush it in MLB and NBA, DFS, and Prizepicks. Thank you.